If you understand the Arabic verb, arsala, to be sent. Inna arsalnaka, we sent you, O Prophet. Bil haqq, with the truth, not falsehood. We sent you with haqq and not with extremism. And you can study the Arabic language. Haqq means the truth. Haqq means that which is practical, which is realistic, which is correct, which is right, and not wrong and not false. And you search the Muslim world, you will be drowned in the problems that they have to find what is really true and what is really false. The only way you can get it is to go back to the Qur'an, but you gotta be a student of this text. Because the wealth of this book remain buried deep inside. Most of what you see outside in the translation is just superficial expressions. You got to be prepared to make the sacrifice and cost it what it will. Don't be part of a culture where you feel you can get a quick answer. This is a book of life. It's not a book of the moment. I want to know the answer for that, or I want to know the answer for that. We need to become students. Mothers and fathers, grandmothers and grandfathers need to set the change in society. Then we will see our children. They would run behind the Qur'an to study it. They will not be extremists. They will not feel because they got a Muslim name, an Arab name, a Persian name, an Urdu name, a Bengali name, or some African name that they are Muslims, or they wear certain clothes that makes them Muslim. No, no. A Muslim is someone who brings peace to the world. A Muslim is someone who brings peace to the world. Because salima, to be in a state of peace, to be safe. A Muslim is someone who is an asset to society, not a liability. A Muslim is someone who brings peace and harmony and tranquility and safety and security to the world in which he lives in. Do you find yourself doing that? Do we find ourselves doing that? We got a lot of work to do, a lot of homework to do. So the Qur'an told the Prophet, إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ بِالْحَقِّ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا. Two things of the Prophet. He was sent with these two things. He didn't make it up. He didn't have to make it up. He was sent to give good news to the people. What is good news to people who are suffering? That if you follow this way, you'll get out of it. What is the good news for people who are uneducated? What is the good news for people whose lives do not count but as numbers in society? That if you follow this Qur'an, your life will change. Look at the Muslim world. They are waiting for somebody to rescue them. Because all these Muslim scholars and Islamic universities have not been the cause for rescuing them. If you know the Muslim world and you know the Muslim countries, the little that I know, I can tell you the Muslim society is the reason for the oppression of their people. The religious society in a big way is responsible for oppressing the people. Because you can't get to Allah. You can't rise in loftiness unless you go through these special individuals. And if you study, you will find we have fantastic names in the community that the poorest uneducated man and woman, they have to run to. How can you run to somebody who's in the stupor of darkness and beg him to help you? This is what is going on. So the Prophet was told, you are to give good news to people. You want to see the acid test? You align yourself with anybody. And you give them advice and see where it will land them. Then you will know if that advice is really real or really false. Keep giving them the cultural, religious advice that everybody is giving here and see if they're going to come out of the mess they're in. Because they've been in this mess for a long time. And every week after week they're getting so many blessings. But blessing is growth and development and enhancement, which you and I have got to make it happen for ourselves. We are the ones who've got to make it happen. There's no miracles. There's nothing called mu'ajiza, miracles. That my children are this and I want them to become that, and I'm going to read something and blow it on them or tie it on their arm or throw it in their food. It's not going to work. Otherwise, we all be sitting at home and be on top of the world. But the world is on top of us. Because they found us very stupid in many ways. That we are people who dilute loftiness and bring it down to our foot bottom. That's why it seems not to have sense for us and our children. And those who live in North America, welcome to the challenge. This is a place that will, it's a big pot that will definitely, the fire of this society will consume every man, woman and child. Except those who are prepared to struggle against such tides with divine loftiness, which requires a lifetime of preparation. So the Prophet was told, you are here to give good news, but you're also here to inform. Nadhir is one who informs, and dhara means to inform, to give advice, to caution and to warn. So the Prophet had two dynamic roles in human society. He came to uplift people. He came to bring good news to people. He came to bring relief to people because people were suffering under the oaths of religious leaders. Chapter 7 verse 157. وَيَضَعُ عَنْهُمْ إِصْرَهُمْ وَالْأَغْلَالَ الَّتِي كَانَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ. And his job was to free the people from the chains and the yokes and the burdens that have been placed upon them in the name of society, in the name of religion and culture and politics and economics. And if you pass through Muslim countries and their lands and their community, generally this is what we are experiencing. That the community is overburdened. They're overburdened. So the message of the Prophet was to do what? Was to take people out of darkness. Do you still see darkness with us? It seems to be the biggest thing rather than light. Whenever there's a little light, we are so happy. Overall, there is so much of darkness. And yet, how do you think we come out of this darkness? Do you think we are supposed to say, oh God, take us out of darkness? God has already given us the book of light. The Qur'an is called Nur. He has given us the book of light. And the book of enlightenment. To me, it is very senseless every day, 39 times in a day, to say, oh God, ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. It is absolutely senseless to say, ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Please, please, take us out of this darkness and show us what they call the straight path. When the book for the straight path, for the lofty path, for the enlightened path, for the empowering path, the path of upliftment is before us. But we don't have the time to go into it. But yet God, ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. So my good brothers and my sisters, I would like us to reflect that this has been the challenge from day one. There's always a magnetism in society by different social groups that always wanted to mesmerize others, influence them, overwhelm them, and then enslave them. And nothing is going to stop you and me from falling a victim to such a campaign.